Hey guys, so here's for the last question. Update the program so the words are printed backwards. Example, hello becomes ole. So yet again, I'm just going to copy the code that the teacher did. And I'm going to rename it so that we don't have a problem. And now, the way I went about this is that here he's reading his code character by character and storing it in his constructor words until the professor reaches a space in where he will take that word, store it into the array of string called words at every position. So this count words variable here is taking care of the positions of our array of strings in which we will store those words. So he's going from 0, starting here, and is going all the way until the s dot length of the string, storing character by character until he reaches a space, and then he adds count words to 1, so he goes to the next position in our array and checks to see if that word is, the length of that word stored is in fact longer than the longest, in which case we will restore that length into our longest variable, and we will clear our words to start over again. And then for the words that's missing, because of course there are 3 spaces and 4 words, he right about here, so this is count words at position 3, he will store the last word that was created over here, since it wasn't actually stored because there was no space. The way I went about this is that I'm going to modify this part here such that I'm going to read my string backwards. Instead of starting at position 0 and going all the way to position s dot length of my the length of my string, I'm actually going to start at the length of my string, and I'm going to go all the way to position 0. But because I'm going to include position 0, I need to start at the length of my string minus 1 because I'm counting at 0. So right here, that's where I'm going to change it. I'm going to do s dot length minus 1. And here I'm going to say keep reading until you reach 0. So keep reading if you're greater or until you reach 0. And instead of, see, he started at 0 and incremented by 1 every time to read the next position, I'm starting at my longest and I'm going to decrease by 1 to read the next position. So instead of saying plus plus, I'm going to say minus minus. And that's going to store, save that, and that's going to store these words backwards. Okay, so if I compile and I run, there we go. You see how my words are now stored backwards? Actually, my whole string is stored backwards, starting with Y, ending with S, instead of starting with S and ending with Y. But my problem here is that my candy is now my first word, as opposed to sir being my first word. So what I'm going to do here is, instead of printing, so here when I'm going to print my words, instead of starting to print at the position 1 of my array, so here J is going to be 1 in this case, because if it's actually 0, it's going to print the box. But the second my Y becomes 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. So here I'm printing my word that's at the position 0 of my array of string here, which is candy. So instead of doing that, I'm going to actually want to print the word that's at the position number words minus J. So if my J is 1, because if my J is 0, it's this. If my J is 1, the number of words I have is 4. Therefore, 4 minus 1 is 3. And this is position 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to start by printing my third position. And then I'm going to increment my I. Instead of incrementing it to the length of the next word, so instead of going from 0 to 1, I'm going to increment it by the length of the word, starting at 3 and going backwards. So number words minus J. Same thing here. And now, if I save this, I compile. I have an error because I'm missing the S for number words. And I compile and I run. So yes, my actual array of words remained backwards, but when I printed it within my box, I printed it starting at position 3 and going backwards. So here, if I incremented my j by another one, so in this case, j would be 2. Number words 4 minus 2 is 2. Therefore, I'm going to read this position. Always remember that we start counting at 0 and not at 1. So I hope this helped. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me, come find me, whatever it is. I know these explanations may not be 100% clear. But good luck, everybody.